Hyatt just broke the math on families. The Park Hyatt Tokyo stay everyone chases? Same room, same dates, now 75,000 points per night under the new May 2026 chart. That's a 67% jump from today. I'm a Hyatt Globalist, and our entire hotel plan as a family of 5 has been built around that award chart. 3 and 4 night trips that used to be comfortably in reach are selling thousands of dollars worth of extra points. So in this video, we're ignoring the spin. We're running real trip level math on actual family stays, and we're answering one question. Is Hyatt still the default for families? Or do Hilton and Marriott now buy you more nights for the same pile of points? For years, Hyatt was simple. 8 categories, 3 prices each. Off-peak, standard, peak. You always knew the range a hotel could cost, which made planning trips and saving up for them straightforward. That system is gone. Starting this May, Hyatt is replacing those 3 tiers with 5. Lowest, low, standard, upper, top. So instead of 24 possible prices, we now have 40. Hyatt is pitching this as an evolved award chart that lets them manage demand without bumping entire hotels up a category. And of course, it's all for the long-term sustainability of the program. But let's be honest, this is a bridge to the same kind of dynamic pricing their competitors use. Yes, technically the guardrails are there, but the gap between them just turned into a canyon. Look, guardrails are better than no guardrails, but when the same hotel can swing by 40,000 points between its lowest and highest price, well, that's more than a top tier category 7 cost right now. So instead of the predictability that made us love Hyatt, we're getting a system that gives them a lot more freedom to charge us more points. And they're doing it exactly when they know we want to travel. Alright, let's get to the part that really stings. The numbers. Hyatt made a big point of showing that some of the new lowest tier prices are a little cheaper on the bottom end of the chart. And sure, a few category 1 or 2 nights might look nice on paper. But that's not where families actually feel this. The real damage is happening at the top of each category. Let's look at the maximum prices moving from the old peak tier to the new top tier. At category 4, that sweet spot for free night certificates leaps from 18,000 points to 25,000. That's a 39% hike. And those aspirational category 8 stays from 45,000 to 75,000 points per night. 67% more. And it's not just those two. Categories 1, 6, 7, all similar jumps. I'll put the full chart on the screen. Hyatt says that in 2026, only a limited number of nights at a limited number of hotels will hit these new upper and top prices, and that you'll see more of it in the years to follow. That sounds a lot like slowly boiling a frog. That isn't a little tweak around the edges. That is a fundamental change in what every point you earn is actually worth. What they're really doing is normalizing these higher prices so they can roll them out whenever they know demand is locked in. Holidays, school breaks, peak summer, the exact times families can actually travel. The old comfort of knowing your dream trip tops out at X points? Gone. Now you're stuck asking, what price am I going to get dealt when our school calendar finally lines up with award space? So let's talk about why this hits me and a lot of you right where it hurts. I spent over 40 nights in Hyatts last year, almost all on points with a family of 5. A standard room just doesn't work for us most of the time. We usually need connecting rooms or a suite if we want to travel without losing our minds. That's where Hyatt's predictable pricing used to be our superpower. Take a great Category 6 property, the Grand Hyatt Deer Valley. Last year we booked it over winter break. Our room cost 29,000 points per night. For 4 nights, that was 116,000 points total. A big number for sure, but it was a clear target. Now, rerun that exact same trip under the new chart. That same peak winter week is almost certainly going to price at the new top tier. So that room goes from 29,000 to 40,000 points per night. That's 11,000 more points per night, and over 4 nights, that's 44,000 extra points for the exact same vacation. Nothing about the trip changed. Same snow, same hotel, same family of 5 trying to make this work. The only thing that changed is how many points Hyatt can charge for it. And this isn't just a globalist problem. This hits every family that's been using points to make trips like this happen. Hyatt used to be the clear champion for families traveling on points. But when the currency changes this much, families like mine have to rethink the entire loyalty strategy. If I'm going to earn, track, and manage this many points, I need to know I'm still getting the best possible trade for my effort and my everyday spend. There's no question that Hyatt has devalued all their points, and they are objectively worse than before. But here's the million-point question. After this devaluation, is it finally time to jump ship to Marriott or Hilton? For years, my answer was a firm no. Marriott has always been my backup, but Hyatt's published reward chart was the killer feature. It was predictable. You knew exactly what a room would cost in points, and you could build a real plan around that. Meanwhile, Marriott and Hilton? Fully dynamic pricing. No published chart, no hard ceiling. A room costs whatever the algorithm feels like that day. A top-tier hotel can casually float past 120,000 points, sometimes more. Now Hyatt is wading into those same murky waters. Hyatt's new model is a hybrid, dynamic pricing with guardrails. They're still committing to a price ceiling inside each category. You're not going to see a Category 8 wanting 200,000 points. That 40,000 point swing within a single Hyatt category can actually feel more volatile than what you'd see at a comparable Marriott. Because now, Hyatt's new top-tier prices are creeping into the same territory as Marriott and Hilton peak nights. But they're also coming with a higher floor. So instead of stable and underpriced, Hyatt is starting to look like predictably expensive at the exact times families can travel. Is the grass greener on the other side? We won't know exactly how aggressively Hyatt rolls out these top-tier prices until we see a full year of data. But the math already tells us enough. The lawns are starting to look a lot more alike. Hyatt's main advantage was predictable, superior value. It probably still has a slight edge, but that edge just got seriously dulled. So what do you actually do with all of this? Here's the game plan I'm using for my own family of 5. Book everything you can at today's prices. You have until May 2026 to lock in the current award chart. Hyatt lets you book about 13 months out, which means you can still grab today's prices for trips well into early 2027. If the new chart makes your dates cheaper later, Hyatt will actually refund the difference in points when you rebook or modify. If the price goes up, your reservation is protected at the lower rate you locked in now. So if you know you're doing a big family trip, spring break, winter break, summer vacation, think of it as locking in today's exchange rate before the currency devalues. Once that new 13-month booking window rolls out, you want to be at the front of the line for high-demand properties. For big family trips, ski weeks, beach weeks, school holidays, put a reminder on your calendar for the exact day your date's open. For our next Coconut Point trip, I already have mine set. The earlier you book into that window, the more likely you are to avoid these top-tier prices and lock in something closer to lowest, low, or at least standard. Under the old chart, you could sometimes brute force bad dates with more points and still feel okay about it. Under this new system, timing is everything. If your school calendar gives you even a little wiggle room, a Sunday checkout instead of Saturday, nudging a trip 1 week off peak, that flexibility is about to become your single best weapon for hitting those lowest and low rates. So before you bail on Hyatt completely, max out what's left of the old chart, then use the new rules as surgically as possible. So what's the final verdict? Is this the end of Hyatt's reign? For me, it feels like the end of an era, but not the end of the program's value. Hyatt is still hanging on to an award chart, and Globalist benefits are still the best in the business for families. Late checkout, free breakfast, suite upgrades. On paper, it's still the top of the heap for a family of 5. But the soul of the program, that predictable, outsized value you could actually plan a year of family travel around, has been seriously wounded. My points are simply worth less for the exact trips I want to take at the exact times my family can travel. So no, I don't think the king has been completely dethroned. but his crown is definitely tarnished. Alright, this is a big shift, and I know it hits a lot of you right in the planning. So I really want to hear from you. Is this it? Are you done with Hyatt, or do you still think they're the best game in town for families? Drop your strategy in the comments. What you're changing, what you're sticking with, all of it. And if this breakdown helped you make sense of the changes, hit that like button and subscribe. Now, these changes might actually make free night awards more valuable than ever. And one thing that hasn't changed is how Hyatt hands them out. This video breaks down exactly how to get every free night award Hyatt wants to give you. As always, thank you for hanging out with me for a little while, and until next time, safe travels.